Hey, this is Jay Rose. You're watching 416 Interview.
Who or what inspired you to delve into like multiple creative fields like the music? I know visual arts you've done, photography, producing, as well as skating for a little while.
So, when I started out getting into art and music, I was 17 in high school, kind of looking for, a way to like vent my emotions and what I was going through in my life. And I actually met up with a friend who I used to like freestyle with for fun, and he kind of gave me that push to, take it seriously. And we kind of like just played around together and, started making music. And then in high school, I had this really inspiring art teacher, and I had like six different classes with her. So I basically spent all day in her class, and I kind of, used visual arts and sonic art as like a way to express myself. And yeah, it kind of just, snowballed from there, and I just kept taking it seriously.
What's behind the name J Rose? How'd you come up with that?
My parents actually named me Jalen after the basketball player Jalen Rose. So I was thinking about that one day, and I was like trying to pick my rapper name, and I was thinking like, should I just keep it like Jalen, kind of like, like a first name, kind of like Drake, or like, just like keep it like my name. And then I remembered in my head, like, okay, why did my parents name me Jalen? And then I was like, okay, Jalen Rose, the basketball player. And then I was like to my friend, I was like, should I be Jalen Rose? And then he was like, J Rose. And then I looked down at my shoes, and I have these like Jordans with like roses on them. And I looked down, and like no connection to like any of it, just I had these shoes, and I looked down at them, and I was like, J Rose, like that's it, and it was just like a monumental moment. And then from there on, I just like branded myself and just went from there.
And then your debut mixtape, Highschool Chronicles, reflects your experiences during that time. Can you share like a pivotal moment from high school that significantly influenced your music?
Yeah, so like I said, like I was in high school, was like 17 when I first started getting into music. I actually was kind of like a troubled kid. Like at my school, I was getting into like bad stuff in my life. I was like drug dealing a lot, and like doing a lot of drugs, and like hanging around people that weren't necessarily like a good influence on me and stuff. And I was like, yeah, I ended up getting expelled from school because I was like drug dealing, and then I got into an altercation with another kid because he robbed me for some drugs. And then he came to school, and he was like acting all tough, making a huge scene, and like pressuring me into fighting him just to like kind of assert his dominance. And he made it like a huge thing at the school, and everyone knew about it. And I didn't want to fight him, but I kind of, I got peer pressured into it, and I ended up winning the fight, and I ended up putting him in the hospital. And from there, I got expelled, and then I had to go to a complete different school. I basically had to make my new friends. I had to spend a lot of time, independent and by myself, and I was basically used to like growing up with people that I knew from grade one, and always having friends around. So this was like a new thing for me to be like going to school by myself all day. Like I was kind of introverted in a sense of like I didn't want to talk to anyone because felt like I was like going through all this shit, and I didn't want to like open up to anyone new. So I kind of I made a few friends, but for the most part, I kind of just kept to myself. And that's kind of where I started writing down like poetry and started writing down raps. And basically, that's when I wrote Highschool Chronicles. And I kind of just wrote about the story of like everything that was going on in my life at that time. And then I ended up just recording it in like a week, and then I released it. And then people, they liked the story behind it. And I was just doing it for fun. But I didn't realize it was going to lead to all this, but I just kept taking music seriously and like trying to up the quality and like take constructive criticism, and yeah, that's how it all happened.
Can you walk us through like your creative process? Are you a freestyler? Do you like to write down?
Yeah, so I started out kind of being more of a lyricist, and I started out writing first, and then people told me like, okay, you gotta like flow more on the beat, and like it's more about like how the song sounds versus what the lyrics say. So as I kind of evolved in my music career, I kind of got more into like the production side of things. So I started making my own beats, and I started just like kind of my process is like I'll make the beat inspired by whatever vibe I'm feeling like at that time, and then I'll start like freestyling like three takes over the beat, and then I'll like chop it up in the DAW, and I'll find like the chorus part, the verses, and I'll like arrange it all out like a song, and then I listen to that, and I used to like listen to that and then write it all down and then re-record everything, but now I'm kind of getting more into like once I arrange it, I'll just do it like punch in like freestyle it as I go. There's times where I'm like, okay, I need to sit down and write this all the way through and just think about it, and then other times I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna like go with the first thing that comes to my head and make sure it sounds good, and then just fill it all in. And that's kind of how my process is right now.
I know you're from Hamilton, Ontario. So how do you like plan to contribute to the local art and music scene in Hamilton and put it on the map and beyond?
Well, I've actually done a lot in Hamilton. I've worked with a lot of people out here. I would like to think that I've tried to impact a lot of artists around in Hamilton. I've had a studio here for like most of my career, like probably like 5 years. I've recorded a lot of people, so I would like to think that I like impacted people in a sense of like I gave them the resources to start making music, or have a place to come and record and stuff. I would love to put Hamilton on the map as like the place that I came up from. Uh, Eventually, later in my career, but right now I'm actually like moving out of Hamilton. So yeah, trying to kind of get away from the scene here.
What kind of advice you got for artists trying to break into the music industry?
Okay, so for advice for artists trying to break into the music industry, I would say um, educate yourself, and the most important thing is like working on your craft. Like your music has to be good. That's like the bare minimum, and then like work on the music to the point where it's good, and like ask other people or get feedback. Be open minded. Um, Take constructive criticism in a positive way, and like maybe even if it's like negative, think about like what you can take from it, and don't just think like, oh, they're hating. Like, yeah, they're probably hating, but like what they're talking about like true, or like how can it help you? And then so like getting good at your craft is number one, then learning about the business side of things, because music is a business, and you won't succeed if you don't understand the business. So figure out how the business works, how to market yourself, figure out branding is like probably the second most important thing next to having good music. Is like you have to have a good brand. And then finally I would say networking. Like the whole music industry is like who you know, and like just by knowing someone you can like take your career like way up. So be a very social person, and be positive to everyone and try and network. That's like one of the biggest things.
What are some core messages do you have that hope your audience can take away from your, music catalog?
Some of my core messages are probably, I talk a lot about like mental health stuff, such as like depression, anxiety, addiction, and stuff like that. So I really like hope that people going through that stuff can relate to my music and try and make like a positive change for themselves. I've went through a lot of mental health stuff and also addiction. I'm like 7 months sober now. So I mean, I have fun songs too, where it's like we're talking about partying and getting lit, and it's like meant for you to have like a good time. But then the music that like really, you know, I'm really proud of and really touches my soul is really the stuff that I make, where I'm talking about uh, me like going through addiction and mental health stuff and anxiety and stuff like that. So I really hope that my music can send that message to people, and people can relate to it, but also listen to my music as a way of dealing with all that stuff and trying to move past it.
Any new projects people should look out for? What do you have going on that's going to be released in the future?
So I have like a lot of stuff coming out on my YouTube channel. I'm gonna be releasing a skate edit soon. I have a song that I made in LA dropping the next month. So yeah, this January at some point. I'm not sure the date just yet, but that'll be dropping. And then I'm making a new YouTube channel for beats. So if any rappers are looking for beats, I'll be posting beats there. And I'm also releasing a project this year with a really dope artist named Mixtape, who lives in LA. I'm going to live with him in LA, and we have a project that we're going to be releasing this year. And then I'm also working on a house project right now. I'm kind of like switching up from hip hop a little bit, and releasing a house project at some point this year, and many more singles and stuff like that. So that's what I got going on.
Baby summer vibes, putting quarters in that jukebox. Remember days, hit my cash in that shoebox, and everything seems so simple.